Good evening, and welcome to Having a Drink with Mink. I'm your host, Jason Mink, and tonight I'll be having this drink. Alright, let's get down to business. What Having a Drink with Mink is all about is, this is a completely unscripted kind of splooge of group news, old comics, activity, just general incidentals that otherwise might be missed. It's not quite the Minktropolis mailbag, it's not quite the reader spotlight, it comes right down the middle. The sort of information that you can't live without. At least that's what I'm banking on. Because you know what, kids? This stuff doesn't pay for itself. And boy oh boy, we go through a lot of it around here. Right off the bat, what we're going to do is I'm going to lay some news on you now. This is old comics news, interestingly enough. Who would have thought such a thing could exist? But it turns out that Paramount Pictures is eyeing the old Atlas Comics catalog. They are in negotiations, a little bit of activity going on behind the scenes with Jason Goldman, who is the grandson of Martin Goldman, the previous publisher of Marvel Comics, and SP Entertainment. There is talk of a 6-film deal. There's no news of a budget, there is no news of cast, there is no news of tone, anything of the sort. It's just they're putting it out there in the hopes that people will talk about it. We're talking about it right here. Because, hell, I've been a fan of Atlas Comics since I discovered them in 1975. I was 5 years old. I found an Atlas comic tucked between two other coverless comics in a bag, 3 for 25 cents, back when stripping comics was a thing. It blew my mind. Atlas Comics were the equivalent of Marvel's Big Brother who was smoking behind the woodshed. I loved them. I thought they were great. The company didn't last nearly long enough. I know that they were very schizophrenic. I know that people can be very critical of their output, but I thought they were fantastic. Subsequently, as a result of this news, I put it to you, the old guy who liked old comics, what if I were that producer at Paramount? Pitch me on the Atlas characters. Wow me, tell me, why do I want to give you some money to make a movie about these characters? What do you got? Well, we had some interesting responses. We had some rather abstract responses. Dan Rollins said, make a film featuring the cougar, but change the character to a middle-aged woman. Stan Tychinsky's take on the cougar was a little bit different. He wanted to go the Kolchak the Night Stalker route, emulate what the comic was actually inspired by, which was the 1972 TV movie starring Darren McGavin, which spawned the TV series of 1974. Sadly, the cougar only lasted 2 issues. We never got to quite see how that character's story ended up. Last we saw him, he was fighting his brother, who was a werewolf, and he had his back broken. So let's hope they pick up on that. But Stan also suggested adapting Target. Now, Target was the comic that I just mentioned finding as a kid. I found Target issue 3. We're going to do a very special feature on that in the future. Let's just say that's got a soft spot in my heart for certain. John Evans suggested Sergeant Hawk and his crack unit of GIs going behind. Is this the best we can do for a script, Larry? Seriously, this is written on the back of a comic board and like Sharpie. Try that again. John Evans suggested Sergeant Hawk and his crack unit of GIs going behind enemy lines to rescue a French resistance fighter, a sexy female French resistance fighter, I believe. This was great as far as I was concerned until he cast George Clooney. We're not doing that again. What I had put out there was whoever came up with the best response to my pitch would receive a prize. So when it comes down to it, I think that it's got to be Stan. Stan, you win the prize, because ultimately I loves me some Target. Cheers, buddy. So what you win is this original, hand-drawn, one-of-a-kind illustration of Atlas Comics' own The Tarantula by yourself, my own, yours truly. You just give me your information and I'll see to it that you get this. Remember, all titles are mailed flat. Alright, next, we got some mail. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at this mail. First of all, we got mail from Mike Jones. Now, if you don't know who Mike Jones is, Mike Jones produces Yeet Presents. And Yeet Presents is the absolute best comic anthology on the market as far as that goes. It is a free black and white comic. It is available just about every month, and it contains work from some of the best up-and-coming comics artists, writers, as well as industry professionals. Honestly, you simply can't go wrong by subscribing to Yeet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you this information right here, underneath, because we have the power. We have the power. And I would recommend that you subscribe to Yeet, because every month it's a different book. To be honest with you, one month it will feature EC Comics type horror mixed up with Hernandez style romance comics, sprinkled in with a little bit of perhaps a Western tale. The next issue will feature Mike Jones' Black Terror, or perhaps the Wonder Squad, or one of the other fantastic titles that you can only find in Yeet Presents. This is from Mike Jones, and I've been wanting to open this for a long, long time. What we're going to do is we're going to take Stabby McGee here. We're going to get this going on. We're going to get Blady with it this one time. We're going to cut this puppy open and see just what it is that Mike sent us. And it would appear to be fantastic. Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. Thank you, Mike. We're going to take a look at this in the very, very near future. We're going to set that right there for now. All the bubbles are leaving this. We can't have that. All right. Now we're going to get into this. This right here is the result of a little bit of drunk shopping. I have to admit that. When it comes down to it, I've gotten into Mego recently. I've gotten into Mego hard, and you're going to see that in the next couple of videos. Mego toys were a staple of my youth, and I found that much like the beater readers that we love so much, you can actually pick up some beater Megos for a reasonable price. And one night, I had a few drinks, and I decided to see just how cheap I could find a Mego. And I placed some bids, crazy bids, bids that I look back on now and think, dude, what are you going to do with that? You only got so much space, and, you know, you got to eat. You got to eat, you know. But I placed some bids, and I had a couple beverages, and I went to bed. And a couple days later, I got a message saying I won. As to what I won, I couldn't tell you. What I won was in this box, and we're going to look at it now. So first off, my 21 bucks got me some packing paper. This stuff can't go wrong. It's extraordinary. Highly recommend it for all your packing needs. Secondly, Halloween is coming up, kids. There's a lot you can do with this. You're going to want to hang on to this. This added value. Oh, and we got more. Oh, and it smells like the thing I bought. added value. Alright, I'll show you now what my drunken eBay spree bought me. It is the Mego Ralph Mouth. Yes, the figure no one wanted, ladies and gentlemen. I got him. Yeah. Ralph Mouth features your standard Mego articulation. He moves at the neck, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists. He's got a bit of action in the hips as well as the waist. He moves at the knees and the ankles. He's got a splendid pair of kicks, some nice blue trousers, and a truly splendid sweater vest. When it comes right down to it though, I ain't dropping 21 bucks on a Ralph Mouth figure, no matter how drunk I am. There had to be more than that. And when it comes to Happy Days, there certainly is more than that. You gotta have the whole gang. You gotta collect the whole gang. You got your Richie Cunningham. You got your Potsy. And ultimately, you got your Fonzie. And in my enthusiasm, there he is. I got my Fonzie. It's been 40 years since I've seen a Mego Fonzie figure this close at any rate, and it blows my mind, to be sure. I remember my friend Butch Baxvinskas snuck this figure into afternoon mass one day when we went to school back at St. Henry's, way long time ago. And I remember playing with him in the pew. This is a thumbs up. Hey, sit on it. And wow. All right. Well, when it comes right down to it, you get your 21 bucks worth, ladies and gentlemen. It would appear my Fonz has two left hands. Hey! That's what you get for your drunken eBay shopping. That's alright. For 21 bucks, it's still one hell of a deal. I'm happy with it. To be able to add these figures to the collection is very cool. You know, the card is nifty. You know, to be able to have the original bubble. Who knows? Maybe I'll turn around and I'll retire off this Ralph Mouth figure in 20 years. Come on, buddy. Hey! This has been Having a Drink with Mink. The first episode, what won't be the last. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Cheers.